When you picture New York City, you probably think of that incredible skyline, right? But that view, it's not just a static photograph. It's a living, breathing story of ambition, of crisis, and of pure genius, all written in steel and stone. So let's get into how it was all built.
That's the big question, isn't it? To really answer that, we have to peel back the layers of the city. We're going to go from its chaotic beginnings to its breathless race for the clouds, all to understand the forces that shape the most famous skyline on Earth.
All right, so our story doesn't start with skyscrapers, not even close. It starts with mud and total chaos. Early New York, back when it was New Amsterdam, was just this messy, disorganized, but super fast-growing trading post. And it was practically bursting at the seams.
Look, before New York could grow up, it first had to solve some massive problems on the ground. The city was this tangled mess of winding paths. Sanitation was, well, it was basically non-existent, and these devastating fires were a constant, terrifying reality. It was just pure, unmanaged growth.
So clearly, something radical had to be done. In 1811, the city rolled out the Commissioner's Plan. What did it do? It imposed this strict, rational grid of streets and avenues right over the island's natural landscape. And get this, it was also an incredible real estate maneuver, creating thousands of identical, easy-to-sell rectangular lots. It was a bold, almost brutal act of organization, but it paved the way for absolutely everything that came next.
The first step towards building bigger and brighter wasn't even steel, it was cast iron. This tech allowed for strong, slender frames, which meant you could install these huge panes of glass. And for shops, this was a total game changer. They could lure in customers with these dazzling displays like never before. It was a revolution for business in the mid-19th century.
Okay, so with businesses booming, the city faced its next huge challenge. Where were all of these people going to live? The answer came in the form of a building that would define the look and feel of New York neighborhoods for 100 years.
This was the brilliant, repeatable formula of the brownstone. It was designed specifically for those narrow lots created by the grid. They were efficient to build, and it created those beautiful, uniform streetscapes you still see in places like Brooklyn and Harlem today. That high stoop, the grand parlor floor for guests, it literally became the architectural DNA of residential New York.
Meanwhile, a series of game-changing inventions were quietly falling into place. Elisha Otis made elevators safe, which took away that paralyzing fear of them just falling. Then, architects out in Chicago perfected using the steel skeleton. All of a sudden, the old limits on how high you could build were about to become ancient history.
And that brings us to the most dramatic chapter in our story. So, you've got a solid grid on the ground, you have a housing solution in place, but now New York's ambition ran into its final barrier, the physical limits of the island itself. There was only one direction left to go, and that was up.
You have to understand, for pretty much all of human history, this was the limit. 6 stories, that's it. If you try to go any higher, the walls at the bottom would have to be so ridiculously thick that they'd eat up all the usable space. Not to mention, who's going to walk up more than 6 flights of stairs every single day?
So the skyscraper wasn't just one single invention, it was really a fusion of 3 things. You had the steel skeleton to carry all the weight so the walls could just be these thin curtains, you had the safety elevator to whisk people to the top in just a few moments, and you had new fireproofing techniques that made these massive structures safe. Together, they unlocked the sky.
And this just unleashed a frantic race for the title of world's tallest building. The most legendary battle was between 40 Wall Street and the Chrysler Building. The team at 40 Wall Street rushed to finish at 927 feet, thinking they'd won. But the Chrysler's architect had a secret weapon, a massive spire secretly assembled inside the building that was hoisted into place at the last minute, stealing the title in this stunning architectural power move.
But that victory was short-lived. Just 11 months later, the Empire State Building soared past everyone, reaching a staggering 1,250 feet. It ended the race so decisively that it would stay the world's tallest building for almost 40 years, becoming this global symbol of American power and ambition.
So after World War II, a whole new philosophy sweeps the globe. A lot of it was carried over by European architects who were fleeing the conflict. The ornate, decorative styles of the past, they were suddenly seen as old-fashioned. The future was all about simplicity, efficiency, and a new kind of clean, corporate power.
This was the era of modernism. The new ideal was the glass box, these sleek, unadorned towers of steel and glass, like the Seagram Building, that could be built pretty much anywhere in the world. Function was king, and historical decoration was stripped away, sometimes with very little thought about what was being lost.
But this relentless push for the new came at a devastating cost. In 1963, one of the city's greatest architectural treasures, the original Pennsylvania Station, was torn down to make way for Madison Square Garden. The public outcry was just immense, and it was captured perfectly by this gut-wrenching quote from historian Vincent Scully.
The loss of Penn Station was a trauma for the city, for sure, but it was also a crucial turning point. Its demolition directly led to the creation of the Landmarks Preservation Commission in 1965. For the very first time, New York City had decided its past was actually worth protecting from the wrecking ball.
So where does that leave us today? Well, it leaves us with a skyline that isn't one thing, but many things. A complex, layered tapestry woven from all these different eras of building, of thinking, and yeah, even of regret.
If you look at the city right now, you don't just see one style. You see the decorative Art Deco spires from the 1930s having a conversation with the sleek glass boxes of the 60s, which are now reflecting the super skinny residential towers of today. Each era is still here, all existing at the exact same time.
And that really is the ultimate takeaway. The one constant of New York's architecture is that it's in a permanent state of becoming. It's a city that was built on the very idea of constant, relentless reinvention.
Ultimately, the skyline is a physical record of this incredible tension, that push to build higher, newer, and more efficient, balanced against the pull to preserve the history and character that makes the city so unique.
And that leaves us with a final thought. Every major building in New York has been a response to the problems and the ambitions of its time. So as the skyline continues to evolve, the real question is, what story is the next chapter going to tell?